This is the basic setup that you need. So we'll do an overview of the setup. The heart of the whole system is actually the column, which is this part. Within the column we have the ion exchange resin itself. And just above that, so the white piston, is a flow adapter. And attached to the flow adapter you have your sample applicator. And above the system we have what's called a gradient maker. And eventually at the base we have the fraction collector made up of a carousel, the flow head, and a control panel. Now the column itself is a very simple gadget. It's a cylinder, glass cylinder, to which we've adapted a valve. Within this small column we have the resin that's been applied. This is the sort of yellowish material here. Above that we have a very important component called the flow adapter. And what it does, it serves to seal the column. So you can see the O-ring, that's your seal. It's imperative you have no liquid above the resin, because if the liquid is there, it's going to dilute out the sample. So you have the flow adapter, which is then, if you follow the circuit, it is attached to a sample applicator. And this is the tubing that leads from the sample applicator to the flow head. That's the common link. Now, what's important about the sample applicator is to notice there's a valve on the side. It's a two-way valve, and the direction of this valve is pointing means it's stopped. So this cannot flow, but this would be open. So if we were to open this valve over here, we would be getting solvent coming from the above through this line into the column. Good. So now we're going to take the liquid that's in here, the pH 4.2, we're going to put it to the waste container. That's good. So now we're going to take 30 mL of pH 4.2 buffer and put it in the first cylinder. So now we're going to turn on the gate valve and allow the liquid to flow into the other cylinder. This way we make sure there's no air in the capillary. And we close it, and then we bring the liquid back to the first cylinder. A bit more. That's good. Now we have pH 12. The gradient maker, and it needs to go up on the higher level. But we're using gravity to feed the column. It goes on the plate stir to secure it. And then turn on the stir. So the last thing we have to do is actually turn on the gate valve. We'll leave it in closed position for now. Setup is the gradient maker, and it is simply two cylinders that are connected via a capillary at the bottom. So the first thing to do is to make sure that the line coming from the gradient maker is free of air. So to do that, what we do, we put some of the buffer, 4.2 buffer, in the sample applicator, and then this valve we're going to turn such that this line is blocked. So where this is pointing means stop. So if we turn this down, go this way. Now this is blocked, and you can see now the liquid is going through, going down. You see meniscus changing. It's flowing from here into the first cylinder. So this way we're purging the line, making sure there's no air in it. Now I'm going to stop it. It's good. So we'll have a closer look at the fraction collector. So when you come to your bench, most likely you will not be plugged in. So you plug it in, and this will initiate the program. It does a self-calibration. And on the mode, you have a time mode or a drop mode. And since we want to count the number of drops, we need to put it to drops. And then you can use the cursor to increase to whatever you want. And we'll put it at 60 for this exercise. And then you can go run, which means when you go run, it means it activates the solvent head. Now you need to turn this so it aligns with the first tube. And how this works, within the solvent head you have a light source. So you have light on this side, a receptor on this side, so there's actually a beam of light going across the gap that you see. Now every time a drop goes through the light beam, it will be counted as an event. So if I turn the column on, it should start to count. So every drop is being accounted for, and when we reach the number 60, the carousel will move to the next tube. So at this point, this is a totally automated system, and you can walk away and do other parts of your experiment. We're ready to apply the sample. So we have the sample applicator over here. So what we need to do is take off any liquid we have within. And that liquid is a buffer 4.2. Put it to waste. Then we find the container that has the amino acid mixture. Make sure you mix it well, because all these samples have been frozen. They're thawed, but they're not necessarily homogeneous. So we find clean. Actually, we can decant. Probably easier. Decant into the syringe. 4 mL. Very good. So now we need to make sure that the sample applicator is connected to the column, to this line. So we know the direction the valve is pointing in is the off position. So now we need this to be on. We need this line to be off. So we'll put it horizontal. So now the sample is now connected to the tubing leading to the column, but nothing's happening because the main valve is on. Turn it on, and you'll see the counter. So now the sample is going from the syringe via this tubing to the column. So we're actually applying the sample. Okay. So at this point, the sample is almost applied. We wait until the base of the meniscus reaches the bottom of the syringe, and then we'll turn off the main valve. This is good. We turn it off. So now the sample has left the syringe. But of course, a lot of it is within this tubing. So we need to have a washing step. So we take about 12 mL of the 4.2 buffer, apply it to the syringe. And then simply turn the main valve on again. And what's happening now, the clean buffer is now pushing the sample that is here towards the column. So now the gradient is being formed. So your pH gradient is coming down the line. Eventually it will go through your column, okay, and cause the amino acids to elute at the proper pH. As you notice, the carousel moved around, so as soon as it counts 120 drops, which is about 4 mL, it will move to the next tube. So this is totally automated. At this point you can walk away and do your next, or set up your next experiment. When the gradient is finished, all you have to do is turn off the main valve, move the solvent head away from the tubes, pick up the carousel, simply slides on, and then you can walk away to your next workstation to do your color reactions. Notice that the carousel is pre-labeled. The numbers are engraved and somebody wrote over them, meaning you don't really have to label these tubes.